Fairwork India 2023 report that has come out and highlighted the grim working conditions of gig workers in India. A lot of companies have been named, including Ola, Uber, Porter, rated as the worst digital platforms to be working in as gig workers. Now, what does the report say? The report says that when measured on 10 parameters of fair working condition, including wage, working hours, working condition, fair representation, most of these companies do not do very well.
So, Shweta, I think, we've got to look at this in context of how this entire gig economy kick-started in India. Now, it was very simple back then when you had Ola and thereafter you had Uber, and I'm just taking these two as examples. I think this translates to everything from Zomato to Swiggy to Blinkit to Zepto across the board, Flipkart, Bigbasket. Right?
Those are the companies that have done well.
Right. So I think this entire concept of gig economy started at a time when there were a lot of incentives on the table to attract freelancers or gig economy workers to come on board as delivery partners on all of these platforms, including cab aggregators, quick commerce, e-commerce platforms, etc. So there was this entire spurt of everybody leaving their resident, not very well paying, but perhaps more assured jobs, coming in lured by great money to be made. Now, great money often is not sustainable when you're growing at the scale at which all these companies, Ola, Uber, etc. grew. So the point is you continue to attract gig workers on the basis of certain examples that you had set on how their quality of life and quality of living, their wages could increase manyfold by coming onto these platforms. Now, what happened many years on, because of the scale, the cost of operations had to be hemmed in. Now, you continue to engage with contractual workers, but your wages to them continued to shrink. In addition to that, longer working hours meant more number of deliveries, passengers or goods as the case may be, more number of deliveries, incentivized on the amount of work you're doing, incentivized on how many orders are you fulfilling in a day, and the fixed component of the salary being really low, and the variable component sort of defining how much money are you really going to take home.
And that's very interesting because the report also points out that many of these digital platforms do not adhere to the minimum wage policy, which means the fixed income is very low as compared to the variable income.
Absolutely.
Where you get more money on the basis of how many deliveries you make or passengers you carry.
Sure, but the point is, you have signed a contract. How watertight that contract is or how porous that contract is, I think is for the legal fraternity to look into and comment upon. But my limited point being, you have engaged with somebody who perhaps does not have a better opportunity cost. What he or she is giving up on to work with you means that what you're offering is more lucrative than what they have available in the market. So I don't want to go hammer and tongs on the aggregators and the quick commerce companies and the cab delivery partners, but the point really being that you're offering them something that they are willingly accepting. Now, if they are accepting what you're offering,
exploitation.
It's exploitation if you don't leave them with a choice. You don't put a gun on their heads.
Which we know they don't have a choice in absence of any fair economic opportunity.
So there is no better place for them to work, and hence they continue slogging here. Now, should companies be more socially responsible, more cautious? I don't know. At the cost of what? At the cost of incurring losses and shutting down business and not being able to even support who they are employing. So I think it's a fine balance which companies have to make at their own level. It's a function of pure economics versus the social contract you have with the gig economy workers, and find a balance where it does not border exploitation and there is a little more fairness, if not in the compensation, which you as a company may be able to ill afford, but then at least in working conditions. But then again, working conditions is a function of how long you are working, how much more money you as an individual contributor of the gig economy want to take home, and hence you continue working hard. It's a vicious cycle. You continue working longer, you continue working odd hours because your variable pay is dear to you because you want to take home as much money as you can. So I think reports are easy to make, but the point is, at one point, these companies are also offering employment to a large mass of low-skilled or unskilled labor who did not have an opportunity outside of the gig economy that they are earning money from.
Absolutely. Working opportunity to people who don't have those opportunities, but hopefully not at the cost of fair working conditions and minimum wage policy, better working conditions. I think we would all like that to happen. Also, as far as bottom line is not compromised. So perhaps a solution which is win-win for both parties.